Hi guys, welcome to Oliveboard. This is part 2 of our two-part series which will cover all the important aspects of inflation and important and expected questions. So in this video, we'll be discovering some aspects of inflation in India, Phillips curve and CPI, Consumer Price Index, Wholesale Price Index, GDP Deflator. All these are indices to determine inflation. In 10 most important MCQs based on current affairs as well as concepts. Okay, so let's start. Please subscribe to Oliveboard's YouTube channel for all the latest videos. Hit the bell icon to never miss a video again. Now, we'll start with a fact. In India, most experts believe that inflation in the range of 2.5 to 3.2% is acceptable and is desirable, because some inflation, as I discussed in my previous video, some inflation is desirable for a growing economy. Okay, growing economy to be healthy. Now let's discuss about Phillips curve, one of the major tools to understand the phenomenon of inflation. So Phillips curve, a question can come: what is a Phillips curve, or for what purpose is a Phillips curve being used? So this curve, most important point, demonstrates or shows relationship between inflation and unemployment rate. Now we draw a Phillips curve. I'll draw a rough diagram of Phillips curve to show how it works. So this x-axis here is your unemployment rate. Okay, unemployment rate, and here on this first y-axis, we'll draw it like this: two y-axis, price. Okay, price inflation, and this is annual wage rate. Wages means your salaries. Okay, now this is, let's say, 1 2 3 4 5, 2 3 4 5, again 5 4 3 2 1, right? Here we have 1 2 3 4 5. So this kind of curve is the Phillips curve. So what it shows, basically, when the output is high, okay, when the output is high, basically in this zone, unemployment is low. This is unemployment rate, this is low. Output is high, price is high, wages are also high. Okay, so workers can press for wage rise, workers and their unions, because the output is high, economy is booming, economy is growing, there's a demand in economy and everything is going good. Now as unemployment increases, wages decrease and inflation also decreases. So here you can see that unemployment rate is increasing, okay, or you can say inflation is also decreasing here and wages are also decreasing. So how can we explain this in a simple statement? Is that when unemployment rate increases, then wages of people decreases, more people are out of work and the salaries also decrease. Now the power of workers and the unions to determine their wages or to get their wages increased comes down. They no more can do this. Okay, they have to just keep their stove working, and as the wages decreases, their purchasing power also decreases. They will start purchasing few goods, and so the inflation also decreases. So this is how a Phillips curve works. Now, price indices to measure inflation. The first one is Consumer Price Index. Very important. It measures changes in the price level of representative basket of consumer goods and services. Consumer goods and services. So you have to remember this. It calculates both consumer goods and services. This definition is very important. Basket of goods and services is divided into subcategories according to their consumption patterns and also on the basis of rural and urban people. There are different sets of people living in rural and urban places. They have different needs. So we have consumer CPI urban, CPI rural. Okay, like this we have. In the year 2013, CPI replaced WPI or Wholesale Price Index. We'll be reading about it as a main measure of inflation. So this is important. Now CPI is calculated as CPI, total cost of fixed basket of goods and services in the current year. Suppose the year is 2018 into 100. Okay, divided by total cost of same basket in the base year. Okay, now we'll be coming to know what the base year is on the next slide. It is calculated on monthly basis. So a question may come, at which frequency consumer price index is being calculated. Okay, so various subcategories, let me tell you, various subcategories are food and beverages, then we have clothing, okay, then we have housing, we have fuel and electricity, we have pan, tobacco, this is one category, intoxicated drinks, then we have health, education. So these are the subcategories on which a consumer like me and you, okay, a person like me and you, which forms a consumer base, will spend our money. Okay, now we have the question, which of the following organization or agency compile consumer price index in India? One of the most important question, and it is expected to come in any of the exam in 2019. A, Ministry of Finance. B, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Office of Economic Advisor, and D, Reserve Bank of India. The correct answer, you can pause the video and think if you know. The correct answer is Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Let me draw it properly. Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Which of the following year is taken as a base year for calculation of CPI in India? Okay, pause the video and think. Give your answer. A, 2004, B, 2012, C, 2017, D, 1991. Cannot be the answers. Too old. We have to gear up with the economy. 2017 is too recent. 2004 is old. 2012 is the correct answer. Now, which of the following subcategory of items has highest weightage under Consumer Price Index 2018? We just discussed housing, health, clothing and footwear, food and beverages. So what is the most important item? If you see these options, if you analyze, what do you think is the most important item needed by consumers, needed by humans? Is it housing? Is it health? Health is important, okay. Clothing and footwear are important. Housing, we need a place to live, but we can survive without these things, okay, at least for a while. Food and beverages, we cannot survive without it. So it has highest weightage, around 46%, 45.8% approximately. What is the CPI inflation rate in December 2018 as released recently by MOSPI? In January they released latest rates. A, 2.19, B, 3.32, C, 5.2, or D, 4.28. So what is the answer? The answer is, correct answer is 2.19%. 2.19% also. Okay, CPI inflation is also called retail inflation. Okay, and this is one of the lowest in recent time, and this is due to lower fuel prices and food prices, food items prices like vegetables, fruits, etc. Okay, so these two items, fuel and food, these are two most volatile items whose prices are most volatile. Now, wholesale price index, it takes prices of represented basket of wholesale goods into account. Okay, base year is 2011-12. Again, an important point, calculated on monthly basis like CPI, has three subcomponents. CPI has many subcomponents. It has only three subcomponents, mainly primary articles like we have vegetables, fruits, minerals, natural gas, etc. Fuel and power. Okay, then manufactured products. So remember these three categories. It measures inflation at first stage of transaction because it is wholesale after they are manufactured. Latest WPI inflation rate has fallen to an 8-month low of 3.8%. So that was CPI was 2.19. This is 3.8%. Now, question: which of the following is taken into account while calculating dearness allowances for central government employees? This, anyways, you should know. A, consumer price index. B, GDP deflator, which we are going to learn in the next slide. C, wholesale price index, and D, index of industrial production. The correct answer is consumer price index, because central government employees, they are consumers, right? So it makes sense. Now there is a fact, RBI mainly takes retail inflation or CPI into account while formulating monetary policy also. This is very, very important, guys. Please remember it. Now, GDP deflator. GDP is gross domestic product. It is a measure of level of prices of all domestically produced final goods and services in a country in a year. It is also a measure of inflation in an economy. Okay, GDP deflator. Now this point is important. I've included it. It's a much broader measure of inflation. Why? There is logic. Because CPI and WPI, they are based only on representative basket of goods and services. It is not the case that we just use products which have been included in CPI and WPI. We use many products, okay, in our everyday use, not just the products which are included in CPI and WPI. So it may be the case that they don't show the correct picture of inflation. But GDP deflator, it takes everything, each and every good and or service produced in our economy. It takes some of all the final goods and services into account. GDP deflator is available on a quarterly basis. This point is important. Okay, so it cannot show the basically the current scenario, right? Most recent scenario. So this is the drawback of GDP deflator. Now, question number 6. GDP deflator can be calculated as, this is the formula and this is important. The answer is A, nominal GDP divided by real GDP into 100. This is the answer. Nominal GDP not adjusted to inflation, and GDP adjusted to inflation is real GDP. So nominal GDP is always higher because it is not adjusted to inflation. So these two terms are important. Please remember these 2 points. Question number 7. GDP deflator is also known as explicit price deflator, real price deflator, implicit price deflator, or general price deflator. The answer is C. It is also known as implicit price deflator. Okay, an important question again. Now, a current affair based question. Who is the present chief economic advisor of India? He was recently elected as the chief economic advisor. Arvind Subramaniam? No. Arvind Panagadia? No. The answer is Krishnamurthy Subramanian. Is ISB, Indian School of Business professor. Question number 9. How is core inflation calculated in India? So is it calculated using GDP deflator, using WPI excluding manufacturing items, or using both WPI and CPI, or using CPI excluding food and energy? So This is the answer. So core inflation. Now, why these two components are excluded? I said earlier in the video that the prices of food items and energy items are most volatile. Okay, so it has crude oil. Crude oil prices are dependent on OPEC output. Okay, OPEC is a group of countries which produces crude. India doesn't produce crude in large quantity, so it has to be dependent on these countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, and UAE, not UAE, Qatar. UAE has low output. So crude prices are very volatile. In recent times they have been very volatile. Now food prices, obviously if there are floods, if there are droughts, so you will face food shortage, so they are very volatile. Question number 10, country X. For example, country X had experienced an inflation rate of minus 1.2%. That means the economy is shrinking, or the prices of items is coming down, negative 1.2 in November 2018. So it's a hypothetical situation. This situation is a case of A, deflation, B, disinflation, C, creeping inflation, or D, galloping inflation. The answer is deflation. Deflation occurs when inflation rate falls below 0 or negative. Disinflation occurs when rate of deflation, inflation falls down. Suppose 5% in October to 3% in November. So rate of inflation is falling. Creeping inflation is an inflation which has inflation rate of around 1% to 3%. Okay, creeping rates. Okay, galloping inflation, they have double or triple, suppose 16% or let's say 40%, alarming rates. Okay, warning giving. This is it, guys. I hope you like the video. Please put the like button. Please share with your friends and subscribe to Oliveboard YouTube channel. Thank you. All the